Hey guys, it's Frozen Front. Yep, your eyes don't deceive you. This is it. I actually got the battle report done. Man, oh man, this was way harder than I thought it was going to be. But at least it's completed. And I mean, this is what I want to just talk about before you guys jump into the video. Much like we had the Mackie before the Marauder, and before the Mackie, we had just metal boxes with wheels on them. The first version is often the one with the most inconsistencies and errors. Such is life, and such is with this battle report. There were several things that I wish I had caught earlier that unfortunately I did not catch in post. Mathematical errors and just rule regulations, tactics that probably don't make sense to veteran players that have been playing this for like years and years and years. And I know that that may be a turnoff to you guys that are watching that. If that is so, I apologize. All I can say is that I will get better at that, or get better at this, I guess. And to those who are mildly amused by my own stupidity, well, I guess I'm happy I made you guys laugh. Or at the very least, you have ASMR for like 45 minutes. Oh, I also edited a lot of things that I feel kind of drag on about report, so you won't have to bear with me having to do like an hour of mathematical calculations for hits, as well as freaking me failing rolling dice as they go flying off into like the complete opposite region of what I was aiming for. Uh, is there anything else I honestly want to rant about before I let you guys watch the video? Let me just. I wrote some stuff down. Sorry. Guess what? This is me for real. No script, no nothing. So, oh, also, big thank you to Battlebound for shouting me out. You guys are awesome. I saw your battle report, saw the love and rep you did for Tex. I am super proud that you guys even acknowledged me, and I cannot thank you enough for putting me on the map. I honestly think you're the reason why I was even able to get double my size despite having no content. So thank you, Battlebound. You guys are awesome. Um, Also, yeah, the whole text thing. Seriously, guys, if you can send some love towards like Texas way, it would be greatly appreciated. You guys probably by now know what happened. I I don't want to get into it, but literally, he did not deserve what happened to him. And just if you find any like respect or passion for what he has done for this community, literally he's the reason I'm even here right now. Just send it his way and just let him know that like he's appreciated. Um to the subscribers who just joined recently, hi, welcome. I don't know why you watched every video except the update video where I said don't subscribe until I had some more content out there, but hey, I mean, welcome aboard the dropship. Hope you enjoyed the visit or the stay. I can only promise that I will try and put more content out there for you to justify subscribing to me. Oh, one last thing. I know this is 3 minutes in and it's still ranty and ravey. I am going to be working on Dropship Banter next or Dropship Banter. Jesus, get the name right. You made the show. I'm going to try and be working on my talk show for the next couple of episodes. So this is probably going to be the last battle report until September, which will probably be late September, since I'm going to actually try and measure myself and make like changes and fixes so that the next battle reports are better going forward. And that is all. Thank you guys so much again for putting up with me, for subscribing, for finding some value in what I do. I don't know what I see in myself, but you see something, so I guess I'll just keep trying to keep you guys entertained. Anyways, peace out. I'm going to go relax for a couple days. Then I'm going to start working on that Dropship Banter. Guess what it's about? It's about Capellans. So if you haven't unsubscribed by now, you're probably going to unsubscribe by then. Anyways, or make fun of me. I don't know. Anyways, enjoy the video, guys. I will see you all later. Peace out. All right, starting off with the pre-deployment phase, rolling off for Mercs first. Mercs roll a 4, while the Combine will roll a 5. So Mercs will begin first onto the field. Starting off with pre-deployment movement, we're going to have the Blackjack move up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to have the Phoenix Hawk move up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Followed by the Thunderbolt walking this way on a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to have the Wolfhound move on 6 this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just stay there. As for Combine pre-deployment, as they are serving as the defense for this breakthrough mission, they can set up wherever they want. So I'm going to set up the Jenner F right on top of this ridge. The Jenner K will be right beside it by the tree line. The Dragon will be on the opposite side in the midfield area. And then the Warhammer will just be right in between the middle to surface fire support. And that ends pre-deployment. Moving on to turn 1, rolling to see who wins initiation first. Rolling for Mercs. Mercs get a 10. Rolling for Combine. Combine get a 4, so Combine have to move first. Starting off with movement, the Dragon is going to, or the Warhammer is going to move up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting into range with the other Mercs. Meanwhile, the Blackjack is going to also move up 4 and get right on top of the building. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Dragon is going to move next, moving on a movement of 5 to get in range of the Blackjack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meanwhile, the Wolfhound's going to be a little sneak and just try and get a shot off on the tree line on a movement of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Meanwhile, the Jenner is going to move on a movement of 11 and help give support to the Dragon. So running on 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Hawk is going to move 6 and try and help support the Blackjack in firing on the Warhammer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Meanwhile, the other Jenner is just going to move up 7 to take some more pot shots at the Blackjack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right there. And lastly, the Thunderbolt is just going to chug away on a movement of 4 to get a shot at the Jenner in the open. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. As for combat for turn 1, the Jenner F unfortunately can't get any shots off because of the terrain, so any shot that it makes is an automatic fail. The Wolfhound, however, is able to get a shot off on the Dragon with its large laser and hits the left arm for 8 damage. It does miss with its medium laser. The Dragon in return is going to fire its autocannon right into the Blackjack, which it does 5 damage and does it right into the right arm. However, it fires its LRM-10 and that misses, unfortunately. Blackjack fires both autocannons right into the Warhammer, doing 4 damage right into the left leg of the Warhammer. The Warhammer in return fires its PPCs, but they are just off and do not hit anything but air. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt fires into the Jenner K with its large laser, medium laser, and other medium laser. It does 8 damage right into the right torso of the Jenner K and also does 5 damage right into the right arm, taking out a medium laser in the process. And then finally, the Jenner K is going to do a whopping 15 damage right into the Thunderbolt, 10 right into the center torso, and 5 right into the right arm. It does, however, miss one of its medium lasers. And with combat concluded, we then jump right into turn 2. All right, rolling off for turn 2. Starting off with the Mercs again for initiation. They get a 7. Rolling off for Combine. They get a 4. So Combine are having to move first. Starting off with a Jenner K, it is going to just walk 7 into the woods so it doesn't keep getting punched in the face. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right there. Meanwhile, the Blackjack is now going to just jump down and stop making itself a target. So 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Meanwhile, the dragon is going to reposition itself to get a better target. So just going back a few steps. So 1, 2, 3 right there. Meanwhile, the Wolfhound this turn is just going to climb its way up onto this ridge and reposition itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Meanwhile, the Jenner K is going to take advantage of the Wolfhound and just move 7 right to get behind it. So having to cross into heavy forest. So 1, 2, 3, crossing into light forest. 4, 5, 6, and then just moving down here, 7. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Hawk is going to take advantage of that. Seeing the Jenner K in the open, it's going to turn and walk for 7, or walk for 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right there. Meanwhile, the Warhammer is just going to chug its way up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Putting itself into a better firing position to shoot at the Blackjack. And lastly, the good old Thunderbolt's just going to keep walking on its way. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the start of turn 2 combat, the dragon fires right into the Blackjack with 2 medium lasers but misses, and is able to hit with an autocannon right into the right torso. In return, the Blackjack fires its 2 medium lasers and 2 autocannons, missing an autocannon and medium laser, but able to land 5 hit points of damage to the left arm and 2 autocannon damage to the head of the dragon. Meanwhile, the Wolfhound tries to open up with a large laser into the dragon, unfortunately missing too much to the left and just completely botching the shot. Meanwhile, the Jenner F takes advantage of being around the back of the Wolfhound and fires 3 medium lasers, with 2 landing 10 damage worth to the center torso of the Wolfhound. In retaliation, the Phoenix Hawk opens up with its large lasers, medium lasers, and machine guns, but is only able to hit 5 damage worth of its medium laser into the Jenner F, which goes into its right arm. On the opposite end of the field, the Jenner F, from its advantage point, decides to take some pot shots with its 3 remaining medium lasers into the Thunderbolt. However, is only able to land 1 of those shots into the left torso for 5 damage. In response, the Thunderbolt opens up onto the Warhammer, able to land its large laser and its LRM right into the left leg and right torso, for 8 damage worth into the left leg and 2 damage worth into the right torso of the Warhammer. Lastly, the Warhammer goes complete ham onto the Thunderbolt, firing its small lasers and medium lasers, but missing 2 small lasers and 1 medium laser, and only able to land 5 damage onto the right arm of the Thunderbolt. With all damage calculated, we move on into turn 3. Starting off with turn 3 initiation, we roll off for the Mercs first. Mercs roll. They roll a 6. For the Draconis Combine next. They roll a 9, so Mercs have to move first. Starting first with the Wolfhound, he decides to make a move right behind the building for cover. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Positioning himself so that if anyone comes near him, he can just go pot shot on them. Meanwhile, the Jenner in the forest area is going to make a run for it, down to support the other Jenner who's fighting the Wolfhound and the Phoenix Hawk. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And also position itself to take a shot at the Thunder or the Blackjack if it can. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt's just going to get on top of the cliffs. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Meanwhile, the Warhammer is going to also make a movement to get into better position to hunt down the smaller mechs in the mercenary lands. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Meanwhile, the Blackjack, realizing that it's getting surrounded, is just going to nope its way out and make a run of 6 onto the cliffside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. Meanwhile, the dragon is going to introduce itself to the Blackjack by getting closer. So, walk in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To just rain heck into its face. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Hawk is going to walk into the woods so it can take a better shot at the Jenner trying to approach it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully using it as cover enough so that it doesn't get hit. Lastly, the Jenner F is going to take the Wolfhound up on its challenge for a duel and just move 7 to fight it in close combat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At the start of turn 3 combat phase, the Wolfhound just opens into the Jenner F with everything it has and gets 18 points of damage into the Jenner F. 8 of which goes into the head of the Jenner, getting a crit and also killing the pilot by blowing up the cockpit. The Jenner F is able to get 10 damage worth, however, into the right leg and left torso of the Wolfhound, but it's just not enough. And the poor Jenner just goes down in turn 3. Not far away from that combat, the Blackjack and Dragon are just trading slug blows with each other, with the Blackjack getting 15 points of damage into the left arm, right leg, and center torso of the Dragon. Though it is able to get a crit on the left arm of the Dragon, nothing occurs. Meanwhile, the Dragon is able to do 10 damage worth of hit points into the Blackjack, doing 5 into the right leg and 5 into the left torso. A little ways off from there, the Phoenix Hawk does attempt to try and get a shot off into the Warhammer, but all that does is cause it to get pissed and just open up with its PPC, doing 20 points of damage to the Phoenix Hawk right into the right arm and blowing it off, with the right arm just gone and its large laser. As well as that, the Jenner K also gets 5 damage worth into the center torso of the Phoenix Hawk. Thankfully, despite all that damage taken, the Phoenix Hawk does pass the piloting skill and somehow manages to stay alive, at least for the moment. Lastly, the Thunderbolt, in a desperate attempt to give some cover to the Phoenix Hawk, does open up, though it's only able to do 8 damage to the left torso of the Warhammer. Both its other medium lasers miss. So by the end of turn 3, we have our first casualty, though it's not looking good for the Phoenix Hawk either. Right now, the Combine Lance is suffering, though this could change by turn 4. Also, I'm sorry. I'm literally just super hyped that the Wolfhound was able to actually pull off that crit. Alright, starting off turn 4 initiation, rolling for Mercs. Mercs get a 6, rolling for Combine. Combine get a 7, so Mercs again move first. Starting with the Thunderbolt, he's going to just move off the ridge and into the corner, walking, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Meanwhile, the remaining Jenner is going to reposition himself to start firing at the Thunderbolt, just walking to 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So next up we have the Wolfhound, who's taken a lot of heat from that last round. So because he's at 8 heat, he's just going to be taking easy this round. He's just going to move 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to start making his way over to the end of the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Dragon is going to just reassess and move a little bit more into the middle of the field to get better shots at both the Blackjack and the Phoenix Hawk. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Running just into the center of the field. Meanwhile, the blackjack is going to make its first jump in the game onto the building next to it to get into better position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. Meanwhile, the Warhammer is just going to position himself a little bit closer to the side to get better shots at the Phoenix Hawk. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hoping to finish him off and get the kill this turn. And lastly, the Phoenix Hawk, in his poor state, is just literally going to try and get some cover in the woods. So he's just going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right there to avoid getting hit this turn. For the start of combat phase turn 4, the Thunderbolt attempts to fire into the Jenner K with its large laser, 2 medium lasers, and SRM. Unfortunately, every single shot is a miss, so the Jenner gets away scot-free. At the same time as that, the Jenner K attempts to open up into the Thunderbolt with 2 medium lasers, only landing 1, however, into the right leg for 5 damage. Following the string of near misses and near hits, the Phoenix Hawk does attempt to fire into the Dragon, though it does lead to a miss with its one and only medium laser left. Likewise, the Dragon returns fire with its autocannon and 2 medium lasers, which both unfortunately miss as well. Finally, however, the Warhammer is able to get a PPC off right into the freaking face of the Phoenix Hawk, doing around 10 damage worth to the left leg, with the final shot from the Warhammer bringing an end to turn 4. At the start of turn 5, Mercenaries roll first to see who gets initiative. Mercenaries roll. They get a 6. Meanwhile, the Combine roll afterwards. They also get a 6, so re-roll for tiebreaker. Combine roll again, or Mercenaries roll again. They get a 7. Combine follow after. They also get a 7. Rolling one more time to break tiebreaker. Mercenaries roll. They roll a 9. Combine rolls. They roll an 8. So Combine has to move first. Starting first with the Warhammer, he's going to turn and move 4 so he can start facing the Mercs who are trying to get away. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. And hopefully get a shot off at those pesky Wolfhounds and Blackjacks that are thinking that they're just going to sneak off. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt is just going to keep on chugging, making a movement of 4 across the field to get into a better position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. Finally moving into midfield so that he can start firing hell on everybody in there. Meanwhile, the Dragon is going to reverse 5, so not to get hit in the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And 5 right here. So you can get a better shot off right into the side of that Thunderbolt. Meanwhile, the Wolfhound is going to make a break for it. Going to walk on a 6 through the 0 depth water, so no need to make a piloting skill check. Crosses into there. It's just going to turn and hopefully wait till next turn to actually cross over and get into the safe area where he's not going to get blasted. Next up, we have the remaining Jenner, who's just going to be moving on a movement of 7 right on top of the ledge to hopefully get a shot off into the Thunderbolt and maybe even score a kill this time. Meanwhile, the Blackjack is just going to quickly jump down here and turn over to get into firing position, hopefully to get a shot off against the Dragon. Lastly, this poor Phoenix Hawk is just going to move out of range this turn. Hopefully not take a punch to the face. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Starting off the turn 5 combat phase, the Warhammer is going to take off a long-range shot right into the Wolfhound with 2 PPCs. Both miss.
In retaliation, the Wolfhound will be firing its large laser, which does actually hit. The Wolfhound's long-range shot makes 8 damage right to the right leg of the Warhammer. Meanwhile, the Gen K opens up into the Thunderbolt with 3 medium lasers, all of them hitting for 15 damage, 10 damage right into the right arm, and 5 damage into the left leg. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt does return fire into the Gen K with a large laser and an SRM-4. It misses on the SRM-4, but does get a hit on the center torso with the large laser. While the Thunderbolt is distracted with the Gen K, however, the Dragon comes right behind, opening up with 2 medium lasers, both hitting 5 right into the right torso and 5 additional damage right into the left arm. The Thunderbolt does, however, make a save with its pilot roll, so it does not fall down. And lastly, the Blackjack is able to get one shot off with one of its autocannons hitting right into the left leg of the Dragon. The other autocannon misses, though, far going into the sunset. And with the Thunderbolt completely surrounded and the other Mercs trying to make a desperate getaway, that ends turn 5. Starting off with turn 6, rolling for Mercenaries first for initiation. Mercenaries roll a 9. Rolling for Combine. Combine roll a 3. So Combine are going to have to move first again this round. Seeing that the Mercs are trying to make a run out in the dark, the Warhammer is just going to charge all out on a 6 and try and get into a better range for attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At the same time as that, the Phoenix Hawk is just going to try and make a run for its life to get to the finish line. So it's going to run for 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hoping just to get over the refinery and hopefully to safety. Meanwhile, the Jenner is going to just jump right over here on a 5. Come help support the Warhammer in hunting down those pesky Mercs. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt is not going to let that happen and is just going to go right into the face of the Warhammer. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right into the face of the Warhammer. All the while, the Dragon, realizing what the Mercs are trying to do and just trying to run away, it's going to run on an 8 and stop them from crossing over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hopefully going to be able to get a shot on anybody who's going to try and get a hold of climbing that refinery. Meanwhile, the Wolfhound is going to make a bolt for it over the refinery and hopefully be able to fend off the Dragon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, 8, 9. There we go. That's better. Just so that I can get some shots off on the Dragon. Finally, the Blackjack, who is presumably the best bro to ever exist in a Merc company, is actually not going to turn its back on the Blackjack, or it's not going to turn its back on the Thunderbolt, and it's actually going to fly and land onto the cliff range to take a shot at the Jenner, who's being a sneaky little dink. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. And hopefully going to give some much needed backup to that Thunderbolt. Turn 6 combat phase opens up with the Jenner K opening up on the Blackjack with 3 medium lasers, able to hit 2 of those onto the Blackjack. 5 damage to the right torso and 5 damage to the center torso. In exchange, the Blackjack fires 3 medium lasers of its own right into the Jenner's face, doing 5 damage right into the right leg. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the battlefield, the dragon opens up onto the Wolfhound with its 1 autocannon and 2 medium lasers, doing 5 damage into the right arm. After taking the shot into the right arm, the Wolfhound responds with its large laser and 1 medium laser, but both unfortunately miss, going far onto the side, not hitting the dragon at all. Finally, in the center of the battlefield, the Warhammer sees the Thunderbolt coming right towards it, so it fires everything it has. 2 medium lasers, 2 small lasers, and its 1 SRM, landing 13 damage, with 5 damage to the center torso, 3 damage to the right torso, and all of its SRMs landing either on the center torso, left arm, or left torso. The 13 damage, however, is not enough to stop the Thunderbolt, as it just charges in with its 1 large laser, 3 medium lasers, 2 machine guns, and punches, and literally lands 1 large laser, 1 medium laser, 1 machine gun, and a punch, for a total of 21 damage. 8 damage goes into the center torso, 5 damage goes into the center torso, 2 goes into the right arm, and 7 from the punch lands directly into the face of the Warhammer. However, the Warhammer's pilot is able to recover, and the mech still stands. And with a metal punch straight to the face comes an end to turn 6. Turn 7 begins rolling for initiative. Again, as always, Mercs rolling first. Mercs come out with a 7 on top, rolling for the Draconis Combine. They also roll a 7, so it is a draw, re-rolling again. Mercs roll a 5, Combine re-rolls. Combine rolls an 8, so Mercs will be moving first this turn. Starting off with the Phoenix Hawk, who is still only down to 1 actual weapon. It's going to be moving a 9 and hopefully trying to avoid conflict until it can make its way to the end of the battlefield. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Planning itself there. Meanwhile, the dragon will continually move down, hoping to get a hold of the Wolfhound and the Phoenix Hawk before they can reach the end of the map and escape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Planting himself there. As for the Wolfhound, even though he could book his way across the field and make it to safety, he's going to provide some cover for his friend, the Phoenix Hawk. So he's going to stay on the field for a little while longer. Just going to move 9, however, so he doesn't get sniped by the dragon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hopefully moving enough so that the dragon won't be able to hit him and can provide some cover fire for the Phoenix Hawk. Meanwhile, the Jenner is going to try and get out of range of the Blackjack. However, it is suffering heat effects, so it does have a -1 modifier to movement, so it will only be moving 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hopefully it will be able to pivot and at least give some fire support against the Thunderbolt. Meanwhile, the Blackjack is just going to move into the back of the field and provide support by shooting to the back of the Warhammer. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Not a lot of movement, but just enough to start firing into the rear of the Warhammer. Meanwhile, the Warhammer is just going to book it out of there on a run of 6, trying to avoid getting hit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turning Howard to face in case they decide to come and run about. However, the Thunderbolt has a different target this time. Instead, it's finally going to take its anger and frustration out on the Jenner, who's been just hitting it this entire game. So it's just going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Not close enough for melee, but just close enough to just unload everything it's got into the Jenner. For a turn 7 attack, the Wolf fires on the dragon with a large laser, however, it misses. The dragon in return opens up onto the Wolfhound with an LRM-10, an autocannon, and a medium las. It misses with the auto and medium las cannon, but is able to get 3 damage in the right leg with the LRM-10. Meanwhile, the Blackjack provides cover by firing into the Warhammer with its autocannons and medium laser. It's able to score 1 crit with its autocannon to do 2 damage to the right arm and take out a shoulder. All the while, it's able to also do 5 damage into the left torso with a medium laser hit. At the same time as that, the Warhammer turns right onto the Blackjack and opens up with its 2 PPCs, both hitting with 1 PPC getting a crit right into the head of the Blackjack, taking out the sensors and doing 10 damage to the left arm. The Blackjack then has to take a roll for a piloting test. The pilot test fails, and the Blackjack also falls, doing 9 damage to the right arm of the Blackjack. With his partner taken out behind him, the Thunderbolt decides to open up completely into the Jenner with its large laser, 2 medium lasers, and 2 machine guns. It's able to do 5 damage into the left arm with a medium laser, but isn't able to land the crit. It also does 5 damage to the center torso, and is able to crit that, taking out the SRM-4. In addition, it's able to do 2 damage to the left arm, and 2 damage to the right arm of the Jenner, going into internal armor. However, nothing crits, and it also misses its large laser. Meanwhile, desperate to get away from the Thunderbolt and land any kind of hit, the Jenner K opens up with the last 3 remaining medium lasers it has. It's able to get 2 hits off with its medium laser, doing 5 damage into the right arm of the Thunderbolt, and also doing 5 damage into the right torso. Turn 7 thus ends with one of the Mercs down and maybe possibly out for the count, while the remaining Mercs are looking to get out of the battlefield while they still can. Going into turn 8, rolling once again for initiative. Going to roll for the Mercs first. Mercs roll an 8, rolling now for the Combine. Combine roll a 9. So Mercs have to move first. Starting first with Blackjack, rolling to see if he can stand back up. And he passes. He is able to stand back up, back onto the battlefield. Back into position. Next we move on to the Jenner, who is now taking additional heat damage. Is going to just try to desperately get away by running into the woods. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and just going to stay there. Hopefully trying to get some protection and not get hit any more than it already has been. Next we have the Wolfhound, who is going to finally decide to get out while the getting is good. And it's going to just walk right off the battlefield and into safety. So, or run, I should say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and off the field he goes to fight another day. Meanwhile, royally angry that he let the freaking Wolfhound get away, the dragon is going to try and pursue the Phoenix Hawk before it can make a run for it. So it's going to run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Hawk is going to try and sneak around and hide behind the cliff so that it's not attacked by the dragon. So, just walking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Using some partial cover from the cliffs to provide cover so it doesn't get hit anymore. Meanwhile, the Warhammer is going to try and position itself a little bit better to get some more shots at the Blackjack. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt is not going to leave his friend behind, and he's going to turn to face the Warhammer and try to take the blunt of the fight. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hoping to distract both the Jenner and the Warhammer from firing on the Blackjack until he can get his feet back under him. Starting round 8 attack phase, the Thunderbolt opens in with a large laser and 2 medium lasers into the Warhammer. It misses its large laser, but is able to hit both medium lasers, doing 5 damage to the leg and critting it, also taking out a heat sink, and also doing 5 damage to the left arm of the Warhammer. The Warhammer in response opens up with an SRM-6 and its 2 medium lasers into the Thunderbolt. It is able to do 2 damage to the right torso, 1 damage to the left arm, and 2 damage to the left leg with its SRM-6, and is able to do 5 damage into the right arm with a medium laser, taking out the right arm entirely for the Thunderbolt. Lastly, in an attempt to provide support, the Blackjack will be firing its 2 autocannons into the Warhammer, which both are able to hit, hitting 2 damage into the right torso and 2 damage into the left torso. For the rest of the mechs in this match, a lot of them will not be firing simply because they either can't or they don't want to take any more hits in the face. This ends round 8, with now the game equalizing out a little bit more. With turn 9 on the horizon and only 4 moves remaining, we're rolling once again for initiation. Starting with Mercs, rolling off. Mercs start with a 7, rolling for Combine. Combine rolling 9, so Mercs are going to be moving first. Starting with the Phoenix Hawk, he's going to just try and book it to survive. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not enough. Almost there. Just one more move. Meanwhile, the dragon is going to have none of that, and it's just going to move right in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And is just going to lay into the Phoenix Hawk before it can even get away. Meanwhile, with the door to escape closing, the Blackjack's just going to make a run for it as well after taking too many hits to the head. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Going to try and make its way across the field before it's too late. Meanwhile, the Jenner, finally recovering from all that heat damage, is going to fly right over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And position itself to stop the Blackjack from trying to get away. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt's also going to back up the Blackjack and try to kill that Jenner finally. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And finally, the Warhammer is just going to move 4 and get some shots off with its medium laser into the Blackjack. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting off turn 9 combat, the Phoenix Hawk opens up with its last remaining medium laser and its 2 machine guns. It misses with both its medium lasers, but is able to land 5 damage right into the left arm and crit it, doing a hit right into the medium laser of the dragon and taking it out. Meanwhile, the dragon opens up into the Phoenix Hawk with its 2 medium lasers and a punch, able to land 5 damage right into the left leg and punching into the Phoenix Hawk's left torso for 6 damage. However, the Phoenix Hawk is still standing afterwards. Next up, the Thunderbolt opens up right into the Gen with its 3 medium lasers and its SRM. All medium lasers miss wide of the Gen, but it is able to land 2 damage with an SRM right into the left leg, critting it and taking out the lower leg actuator of the Gen. The Jenner, in return, fires 2 of its remaining medium lasers into the Blackjack, missing 1, but is able to land 5 damage worth into the left arm of the Blackjack, though no crit is able to go off. The Blackjack, in return, responds to the Gen's attack with its own, firing its 2 autocannons and 2 of its medium lasers. It misses both autocannons, but is able to land a 1 hit with a medium laser right into the right arm of the Gen, blowing it off entirely and taking down the Gen's ability to fire any sort of retaliatory attacks. Lastly, the Warhammer just walks right up into the Blackjack and opens up with its 2 medium lasers and 2 small lasers. Both medium lasers hit for 5 damage to the right leg and 5 damage to the left arm, and is able to land 1 hit with a small laser right into the left leg of the Blackjack. With that final hit into the Blackjack, bringing an end to turn 9, with 3 turns remaining. Round 10, rolling off for initiative. Rolling for Mercs. Mercs get a 10. Rolling for Combine. Combine get a 9. Combine get to move first. Starting off with the Jenner, though it did pass the piloting skill not to fall down, it is going to retreat, and it's also going to take 1 additional point to its movement, so it's only going to be able to move 6. So it's just going to pull back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully getting out of range this time. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Hawk is going to leave while it still can, making it safely across the battlefield. Boop, joining the Wolfhound and escaping the Combine's reach. Meanwhile, the Dragon, thoroughly annoyed that it's not gotten any kills yet, is just going to turn around and try and get something off the Blackjack and the Thunderbolt. So, running on 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right there. With the chances to escape closing now, the Blackjack is going to make a run on 6 and hopefully make its way before reinforcements can arrive from the Combine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Meanwhile, the Warhammer is just going to move 6 and reposition to fire on the remaining Merc Lance. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. Lastly, the Thunderbolt is just going to reposition itself on the cliff. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. For the start of the 10th round of combat, the Warhammer opens up right into the Thunderbolt with 1 PPC and its SRM-6, missing on its SRM-6, but landing 10 points of damage to the center torso of the Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt, in return, decides to open up into the Jenner with its LRM-15, doing 3 damage to the right arm, 3 damage to the right leg, and 4 damage to the center torso. While it's not getting any crits off any of them, it does further damage into the Jenner's internal armor. While that's occurring, the Dragon decides to fire at the Blackjack while it has a chance, firing its autocannon and its medium laser, both going off, with the autocannon hitting with 5 damage to the right torso and landing 5 damage crit to the head, killing the Blackjack pilot. The Blackjack pilot in its final moments, however, is able to pivot quickly and fire 1 autocannon and 2 medium lasers into the Jenner, missing on an autocannon, but landing 1 medium laser that does hit onto the left arm, blowing up the left arm of the Jenner and leaving it completely with no weapons left. However, the Blackjack does go down in a blaze of glory. With turn 10 coming to an end, the Thunderbolt finds itself alone against the remains of the Draconis Combine lands, with its partners either dead or already fleeing the battlefield. As turn 11 approaches, the Thunderbolt finds its chances of escaping slipping away, with little hope of actually getting away. But it is going to try and at least take down as many of its foes as it can. Rolling for initiative, the Mercs roll a 7. And rolling for Combine, Combine roll a 6. So Combine have to move first. Starting with the Dragon is going to move on a 5 to get into better position to fire on the Thunderbolt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ending right there. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt, trying to at least even the odds a little bit, is going to move into the Dragon on 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Meanwhile, the Warhammer is also going to just move step 4 to get into closer range to keep firing on the Thunderbolt and prevent it from escaping. 1, 2, 3, 4. And lastly, the Jenner, with quite literally nothing left to fight with, is going to just retreat into the corner, hopefully to at least survive to the end of this game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because its foot actuator is still down and limiting its movement. As for combat phase for turn 11, the Dragon opens up onto the Thunderbolt with its medium laser, doing 5 damage to the center torso, but not able to crit. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt opens into the Dragon with its 2 machine guns, SRM, and medium lasers, landing 2 damage with its machine guns into the left torso, 1 damage into the left arm, and 5 damage into the left leg, while the other 2 medium lasers miss the Dragon. Lastly, the Warhammer pivots and fires directly into the back of the Thunderbolt with a PPC, 2 medium lasers, and an SRM-6. It does a 10 damage crit to the head, though is not able to get a critical off, and also does 5 damage to the left leg with 1 medium laser shot, and is able to inflict 4 damage with the SRM-6, with 1 going into the right leg, 1 going into the left torso, and 2 going into the right torso. The Warhammer's final salvo into the back of the Thunderbolt, bringing an end to the 11th round of this battle. For the 12th and final round, the Mercs roll off on a 9, while the Combine roll off on a 7. So Combine move first. Combine movement begins with the Dragon moving back 5 steps to prevent the Thunderbolt from escaping. Walking in the depth 0 water so that it doesn't have to do any kind of piloting check. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolt tries to make one final dash across on a movement of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Staying within the depth 0 water as well. Lastly, the Warhammer turns and makes a move on a movement of 4 to get one final shot at the Thunderbolt. As for the 12th and final round of combat, both the Dragon and the Thunderbolt are able to land one final shot on each other, each doing 5 damage either into the left arm for the Dragon or into the right arm for the Thunderbolt. All the while, the Warhammer tries one final shot with its good PPC into the back of the Thunderbolt, unfortunately missing. Unfortunately, the Thunderbolt is not able to make it in time across the battlefield and is therefore captured by reinforcements from the Combine, bringing an end to the 12th and final round and concluding the game.
Despite taking early losses in the game and allowing half the Mercs to escape, the Combine are able to narrowly get 6 points to the Mercenaries 5 in a total point score, making the winner of this battle report the Draconis Combine. At least for this battle report, that is. I don't think the Mercs are done just yet. But those are battles for another time. So, until then, Mechwarriors.